Good afternoon, beautiful people. It's your girl, the lovely Iriton here on the best radio station, the Black Hot Fire Network on Let's Pop with Iriton. I hope you all had a beautiful, amazing weekend before you basically set it up to basically enter a new month, September, for stability, a new month to do it again, do it better, have or basically have more knowledge, learn, relearn in regards to what to do. Remember, you can download my app on Google Store, stream on www.blackhotnetwork.com to get all the amazing information. It's always about redefining Africans as we redefine ourselves here on Let's Talk with Ibritan. And the topic of the day is Africans can save Africa. Remember, guys, as you download our app on Google Store, you can kindly click on the store section. Another tab will appear, the BHFN Sports Store, and then you click on it. You'll find amazing supplements to basically help you raise your melanin energy and basically helps you guys, the guys you're on their journey for hair growth, having or revitalizing their skin to be super glowy, healthy, stronger nails. You'll find amazing supplements there on our app, and the guys also basically love to work out. These are beautiful, healthy supplements. The keyword is healthy, and we all need to be healthy, guys. Remember, as I always say, you are the change you need to see in the world. Thank you, Pastor Fred, for joining me here on TikTok. Wamboi, Gishukers 5. Thank you guys for joining me live on TikTok. Remember, you can like this video or live and also share for more people to come in and have these and listening to this amazing conversation that I'm about to tackle right away. Remember, as you were saying, as Africans, we are the change we need to see in the world. As we redefine our mind, relearning about our history, always talk about that here, we'll definitely start understanding who we are. And today we're going to dive into the topic in regards to the future of farming in Africa. And in regards to that, also, we'll dive in to understand why a lot of African American land is lost, right? Or basically forgotten farmers in the African American land loss. And that's what we're going to be tackling here on the Best Radio Station. And let's pop with Ewerton. I love to start a video here of Dr. Ari Kana Chiombori talking about it's time for a reset, and also a question in regards to is it time for a reset of the US basically the strategy for the strategy in Africa. Is it time for a reset of the US strategy in Africa? I definitely believe so, because I believe Africans are waking up in regards to what has been happening before, because it has been happening, but right now, we see a lot of Africans waking up, questioning things, questioning a lot of things being imposed, being showcased in the media or on the media. Is that does it really add up in regards to what we've seen prior, in regards to talk about what happened, the pandemic that we had, on what's happening right now, the pandemic that is gonna happen or is basically kind of happening right now. Guys are really questioning before even taking the vaccines, and that's how it should be before um, we start doing anything. We should question, like, why is this happening right now, right? It's good to question things. It's good to go deeper in regards to everything that is being showcased in the media or pushed. It might be an agenda, and I will definitely start with a video in regards to is it time for a reset of the US strategy in Africa.
France has had the biggest wake up call of all Western powers. But the wheels are turning in Washington.
This will definitely help us because we're talking about Africans can save Africa, and mostly today we're going to dive in into the agricultural sector, the reason how or how many Africans can start basically diving themselves into agriculture, planting amazing food at their home places, owning land. So, hello, Calvin Kalmas. I can see you here. Thank you for joining us here on Let's Pop with Everton. Thank you, Joe, for joining us. The fact that we should start basically a lot of Africans in Kenya, in Africa, we should start becoming landowners for real. You don't have to have like the most amazing large land. whatever acre, but still we should start growing our own food. That's the conversation here. As we dive back into the time for a reset for the US strategy in Africa.
As well, especially since Russia and China are also big players in the region. So, what do the changes across the continent mean for the people in Africa and for relations between Africa and the West? What note should Washington be taking? Today, we're talking with Adikana Chihombori Kwao, the former ambassador of the African Union to the United States. Ambassador, it's such a pleasure to be with you again. I've always enjoyed our conversations and learned from them. And I just want to ask you, in the West, when you look at these countries, Mali, Chad, Guinea, Sudan, Burkina Faso, Gabon, Niger, the West looks at this like maybe there's a problem going on here. How do you look at it?
There is a serious problem for the West, for sure. I think the West did not see it coming. However,
that's a fact. In regards to if people start being woke, understanding what's going on, honestly, it's a threat for the guys who are controlling certain sectors in the economic world, also the government, because guys are starting to understand the matrix, what's really happening, and people start taking their power. It says, or basically they say, freedom is not really given to you, you have to fight for it. And the fact that a lot of African countries are basically getting back their power, understanding what's happening, and the fact that also a lot of Africans should start growing their own food. We see this also, it's not an agenda that is always pushed in the media. We're basically pushed into buying takeouts, or basically the GMOs that is really also basically being pushed here in Africa. But the fact that we should understand, like, growing our own food is super healthy for us. It's going to help us live longer, increase our life expectancy here in the world. And the most problematic thing is GMO has always been pushed, and we see that also here in Kenya in media houses. We've seen that, but that we should basically question that and go back into doing research why they're pushing a lot of GMOs.
It was very naive of the Western nations to think that the exploitation of Africa was going to continue unabated forever. The West is definitely, if I may use four-letter word, not so kind, they may be pissing in their pants, because what's happening in Africa is indeed a revolution, and a revolution that's way past due.
So you see it as a revolution, but what kind of revolution is it, in the sense that do you think this is throwing off repression from France, from the United States, from other nations? What kind of revolution do you see is underway?
Well, I like to think, if I were to use the biblical terms, this is a revelation among Black people. They're waking up and realizing that what has been happening is wrong, is wrong, is wrong, and change must come. And for true change to come, it must be brought by the people. What you are seeing is an African electorate that is now awoken.
France has had the biggest wake.
That is so true. Talking about a lot of Africans waking up, there was a video that was shared, or I shared here on my show, in regards to people. It was a conversation concerning the conservation of the wildlife conservation, right? Which actually is bringing back to the topic that I'm talking about. A lot of Africans, or most years, there's a lot of genetically modified organisms, the GMOs, being pushed. And maybe for people right now, I know everybody knows the term of what GMO means. I'm just going to read that out loud. Basically, it's an animal, plant, or microbe whose DNA has been altered using genetic engineering techniques. For thousands of years, humans have used breeding methods to modify organism. Okay, corn, cattle, and even dogs have been selectively bred over generations to have certain desired trait, right? So it's basically a plant or a microbe whose DNA has been altered, and these are the foods which you're eating. It might look healthy, the corns, the tomatoes, the onions. Think about it. It might look healthy because it's growing so fast and super land, but is it really healthy? Not healthy to us as Africans. It's not super healthy, and it's reducing our lifespan. And that's why we should push for a lot of Africans, starting with me and you. Even if you have a little garden outside your compound, you can grow something. Can have seedling coriander seedlings. You can have tomato seedlings. You can grow onions. It starts with you and me because we cannot really trust anything right now in regards to food.
Of your finances, and if you continue from those three areas, you are free to rule your country any which way you want. What power does that president have? And in the past, any president that has tried to back the system and do something about taking control of the financial resources, and I'm talking about African countries depositing their bank reserves with France. I'm talking about African countries giving up their natural resources, no value addition, France having first right of refusal for all the natural resources discovered yet to be discovered. France companies having first right of refusal for all contracts, large, small, private, public. France having military presence in those countries, and France having the ability to invade them in the event that they feel their interests are being violated. France making sure that those countries can only be trained by France, the military can only be trained by France. The military equipment can only be bought from France.